Okay, take two. I hope this one works. George Cavaligos for HFT Bonds. FOMC Minute Day. Knew it was going to be something. I thought for sure we were going to break out of that triangle to the downside. I was buying those cheap Friday expiry puts this morning. Sure looked good for about an hour. Market bounced off the lower trend line and the 10 years to the tick, that 131.05 level. Now what do? I think we go test the upper end of the trend line. Guys, if we're in the chat room, you've seen the charts. I've been highlighting, these scenarios. We're in this choppy consolidation range right now, stuck between, the recent highs and the 131.29 plus high and the 10-year and the 130, well, let's say 131 even level on the downside. We've been nasty bouncing around in there, chopping around, trying to figure out what type of corrective pattern the market is developing here. Basing, going sideways. Lately I've been leaning towards the idea that we've been in this triangle consolidation with, the possibility of lower lows before we get, a deeper rally. We'll see. It's still not clear. The market is stuck in this triangle. We're not out of the woods yet. We still have the old weekly bullish reversal signal that is targeting that high at 131.29 plus. We'll see what happens with that. That hasn't been stopped out yet. The problem with that is the stop is the old lows at 130.23, but it's still intact. Today we had a minor bullish reversal. The signal says we should retest today's high. Actually, I would probably lean towards yesterday's highs up around 21 plus as a more likely level of a target here, since we did close on the highs and equities closed on their lows. We haven't seen the Treasury selling out of the Far East since they came back from their Lunar New Year holiday. I gotta imagine we're going to see some higher prices tonight into the Asian session and probably into the London session too. The last couple nights we did see some hedge funds selling on the London Open, but they sell weakness. They don't sell strength. So I think you'll see the market trade higher into tomorrow morning. We've got a ton of data. I want to see what happens with all that data. Jobless claims are actually supposed to be up a little bit after the big drop last week. Just sort of a corrective type trade. We also got a ton of data out of Europe with the flash PMI numbers coming out. And we're going to see some of that data here in the States tomorrow too. And we're back to the buyback. Now let's talk about the FOMC meeting, guys. Why do we keep hearing this idea that, we're worried about the balance sheet getting too big, and we're worried about, the exit of this big growth in our portfolio or in our balance sheet? They're lying. No, none of them have dissented. One dissenter in the last couple FOMC meetings. If these guys were really worried, they'd be dissenting in these FOMC meetings, and they're not. They're going to keep doing it. They just jacked it up at the same meeting where they talked about the nervousness they were having over the size of the QE at the last meeting. They're not going to back off this thing, at least not for a while. The jobless claims numbers aren't great. The employment situation isn't great. They're going to talk like central bankers, but they're going to act like Fed guys and keep bailing out their bank buddies with endless amounts of QE here. The stock market obviously responded poorly today to the idea that they're going to cut back on some of their, crack that they're supplying to the equity markets through QE. The bond markets didn't do much. I think at the end of the day, the bonds were up 6 ticks and the notes were up 5. We're still in this little consolidation range, and I guess that makes a little bit of sense. If they're going to stop buying all these treasuries, after we get the initial flush, maybe the equities will rebound on the idea that there is some real underlying economic growth, and that treasuries will suffer by the lack of Fed buying every frickin' day. Well, we'll see. Overnight, look for some upside. We'll see what happens from that point tomorrow morning, and then we'll take it from there, guys. Have a great night.